project team we sort of finalized the work that we have to do at this time in determining a vendor or a group of vendors. We have basically limited it, or we basically narrowed it down to 2 vendors. But the next stage of the process would be demos, and we've asked the commissioners that we would like to have a better commitment that we're moving forward with the CAD system before we ask these vendors to come in here and spend 2 or 3 days to do a demo. We just don't. We think it's fair for them that they know that that we're going to move forward. So that was our approach to the commissioners. Again, we've did a lengthy matrix that helped us decide which 2 vendors we have. We're looking at a possible, we're looking at a cost of we're looking at a total cost of the 5-year maintenance and the CAD system of being about $2 million. One vendor's $1 million with $1 million worth of maintenance, and the other one's $1.5 million with $500 worth of maintenance. Don't ask how that goes, but that's how they bid it. It's all negotiable, but anyway, what the commissioners has come back to us, because one of the statements that we made to the commissioners that we felt as a team, and I think as a governance board, that we do not want to put any money into a CAD system unless it's going to be associated with a combined or a regional dispatch center. We do not feel that we want to put that money and get a CAD system and then just send it out to 8 different dispatch centers. So we have said that to the commissioners, that if we're going to spend this money and buy a CAD system, it should be for the use of a regionalized dispatch center, because we still believe that that's the way to go. And if we do a regionalized dispatch center, you have to have a countywide CAD system. The commissioners came back and asked us then to determine some costs associated with, in the beginning, to move Canton, Stark County Sheriff Dispatch, which now would include Plain Township, and the Canton Communication Center, move those 3 together. And we're in the process of doing that. I have some numbers. I'm trying to get a meeting together with all 3 dispatch centers. Director Price said he would be a part of that, along with Division Chief Whitlatch, who's happy to be on another committee. And I was happy to put him on one and have him on one. We've asked the Logic Board for a couple people and the Sheriff for a couple people. And basically that's the sit down. I know in the Logic Board meeting this morning, the question was what would it cost to move the Red Center to the city of Canton or wherever. And that's a good question. I have some numbers, but we'd have to be more detailed than that. I don't think that there's room in the Sheriff's Department now, with you having the call takers in your dispatch and now having Plain Township. I don't know that you have too many workstations open, because we're probably looking at 4 to 5 workstations that we would need for the Red Center. We have previously in our plan, we looked to redo the Canton Communication Center. The remodeling cost for that was $43,000. I'm sure that's up. That was a couple years ago. That was given to me by an architect. And basically we would knock out a few walls, put some more walls in, and create a space that would provide for 9 workstations within that dispatch center that's there now. Not moving into their conference room, but with the ability to move it. I have some sample. I think John's seen it. I'm not sure if Dean's seen it or not. And then we would have to know what the cost would be to either move the consoles that Red Center has into that area or buy new consoles. And so I have prices on consoles. I have prices on workstations are about $15,000 each. So we have to determine again if they're going to use their gold elites, we'd have to move that whole electric board and everything else there. That's a cost that we'll probably have to get more with Motorola to see what that cost would be. One of the interesting comments that was made, or when Mark and Randy and I were talking about consolidation, I often use the word consolidation, but Mark was absolutely right in saying that we need to determine that it's a regionalization of dispatch centers. We may start with a consolidation, defining a consolidation is if the Red Center would move here and still operate as the Red Center. Canton would still operate as a Canton Communications Center, and the sheriff would still operate as the sheriff's dispatch. A regionalized dispatch center means that you're all doing the same thing. There is no Red Center, there is no Canton Common, there is no sheriff. You're all trained to do the same thing. You're all able to take calls not only from the Red Centers, people that you dispatch for from the Red Center, but people that you dispatch for from Canton. That's our ultimate goal, is to regionalize, so that each dispatcher is doing everybody's work, or has the ability to do everybody's work. It may take consolidation first, and then it may take that to move into regionalization. So I have some costs, but I've just got some. Thank you, Bruce, for today. I have the information. Randy, where's that? No. It looks like, and I've asked for some numbers, and it looks like, believe it or not, I thought it's quite a bit, but the 3 dispatch centers, the Red Center, Sheriff, and Canton, actually dispatch about 236,000 calls a year. And they do that with 44 full-time dispatchers, and they do it with 6 part-time dispatchers. Bruce, you don't have part-time?
No part-time.
Right. Canton, you now starting to have part-time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Red Center has some part-time. So that's quite a few calls. And I can tell you, even with our geocom study, one of the more difficult things to do is predict how many calls a dispatcher can take in a certain amount of time. You almost have to do it by experience. There are formulas out there, but as in the geocom study, they had said that you almost have to do it with experience from the dispatch centers on how long it would take for dispatchers to do that. Is 44 dispatchers enough to dispatch 236,000 calls? Apparently it is, because we're getting that work done now, except there are a lot of overtime being paid to do that. I think, Dean, I forget what you said your budget was, $1 million or 100.
Oh, yeah, it's about 176 right now, but, you know, I'd have to go back and, I feel more comfortable going back in prior years and getting records, rather than predicting what this year will turn out as.
Red Center's probably around $140,000 an overtime budget. So the question is, if you consolidate and bring all those together, you actually save dispatchers, or are you going to save some of your overtime costs? These are the questions that we have to answer. These are the questions that hopefully we can get together with all 3 dispatch centers and discuss those more fully.